Yeah, just trying to think of where to start here. See, we're zooming in on this address right here on the satellite. Have you ever used Google Maps? I mean, not Google Maps, but Google Earth. It allows you to go back in time.
And she's looking around, and this little kitten was about this big, and she was sitting right there at the door. And I went over here, and no one knew who owned the cat. I went across the street, and I mean, you can see this cat had to come from a distance to get here. And it was a little baby kitten. And I'm like, well, I guess I got to get food, and just sort of adopted her. And I'll be sitting on the bed. She'll come up, lay in my legs, and start purring, and yeah.
That's ambigram. That way it says life. L-I-F-E. Death. D-E-A-T-H. Enjoy.
Enjoy your meal.
So
it's just been an up and down thing for most of my life. Hardships and heartbreaks and but I'm a survivor, and I've made it through this far. And I'm glad Joe gave me a place to be in a place like this. I couldn't make it any other place, and it's decent enough and clean enough, you know. Precious and little shit, they keep me going. That's the reason I get up in the morning. I'm 67 years old. I don't have nothing else to get up for in the morning but them, and they keep me alive. And I keep going with them. Precious.
I was in a very bad neighborhood. When I got out of prison, I was jogging. I was in good health. I couldn't even jog in my neighborhood without getting into a fight. I remember the night that he picked me up, threw what belongings I had in the back of his truck, and we went to one of the nicest houses that I thought that I would ever see. And that's when I started doing work for him. I did a lot of work for him. I believed in what he was doing. He's got one of the biggest hearts that I've ever seen as far as helping people. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't have helped, personally, I wouldn't have helped some of the people that he has helped. But it actually turned out to be a good thing. Some of the people that I thought wouldn't have been worth it turned out to be well worth it. They just needed a hand up, not a hand out. Joe does not do that. It even sometimes, if you can't pay your rent, he says, well, work for me for a day. And he still feeds you. I'd watched all these people in jail completely giving up on things and trying to commit suicide. Well, when they would do it, they would slash their wrist in a certain way that could be healed very easily. So in my opinion, they were doing it more for attention. I found out that if you did it this way, that they couldn't heal you. So I figured that at the very end, if I was not going to make it through, my emergency would be that. Cut along those dotted lines, and I'd be finished.
This is essentially what it looked like when we got it. There was a storage shed here and a boat. And I don't know when this was taken, but it was pretty clean at this time.
All right, bike ride time.
Here in this area was a well where, when this was a service station, they were using that to dump their used motor oil. And who knows what else. This tower here was at that time 330 feet. Now, let me back up. Tower was built in, according to city records, this tower was built in 1969 at 330 feet tall. In 1983, a hurricane came through, named Hurricane Alicia, and from what I've been able to learn, folded the tower over where it was bent and looked like it was going to fall on the roof of these houses over here. Understand there was some sort of litigation about it. Eventually they cut the tower off where it folded over at 249 feet. Understand that approximately 10 years ago, copper thieves stole the wires going up the tower and the power lines, so the tower was no longer lit with the red lights that flashed at night. And we got the lights back working again. I climbed up there and replaced the sockets and bulbs. I chopped away about 6 to 7 feet of the motor oil, and which was just a solid tar gooey. It wasn't gooey, it was just solid. Put plastic garbage bags around in the cavity. Put a layer of the shell rocky stuff we have here, and then put soil in it up to the top, and I planted that tree in there. So far it's thriving. It's grown about 2 feet from what it was a year ago. When I got it, it was a little bitty one, about that big. It's a pine. I don't know what kind of pine, but you know, just north of here in East Texas, we have a whole lot of pine trees. It's not a typical pine in that it spreads out. It looks like a little Christmas tree. "50, 60 years from now, they'll tear this building down and find underneath all these signs and wonder who these people were."